whatever it is, wherever you are. I have to remember where the heck I was. I know I ended up fixing one thing when I was looking back at some of the historical maps. It was like, it's like amazingly dense. And it turns out it was amazingly dense. I know uh, server time. How far back does two go? Pretty far back. So like some of these, yeah, there's still a lot of iron. Wait, did I actually fix the bug here? Well, I guess the way to look at that would be Jungle Age, which is a very different thing here. That probably didn't exist at this time. Yeah. Wait. Right, this has that. Yeah, so the screenshot images need to get adjusted to when they're valid. Oh, so this is just other changes, either even though it's technically jungle, it's affecting other things here. Yeah, so you can see that all this wheat has the blurry thing from the picture behind it. I was looking at some of these, and it's like some of them were very clearly did not have those blurs behind them. Those rabbit holes, like, I guess it's really thin, so it wouldn't show up much. But yeah, I forget what that change was. Oh, yep. Undefined is not zero. Making them look like wide objects, or making like everything look like wide object, which was short-circuiting small object blocking. So I've forgotten exactly what the priorities were, I guess is the big thing. It's a code change. It's kind of optimization. Yeah, so we've got our screenshot layers. We've got, I can't just append arcs to versions. Well, this is kind of well, because that's going to be the screenshot layer. And I think one thing I was thinking of is that it's, as much as this is in fact driven by version numbers, I might just want to put the dates on there. Because it's going to be a lot easier to set up the data that way instead of having to wait for versions and then kind of figure that out as we deal with it. It might be easier just to define that as a thing. Have I done anything with that so far? Of course, I think I still have to do kind of the big interleaved merge on this. Uh, Must have had a crash. Yeah, so right now we've got Jungle Age, which you just started Jungle Age. And I could just look at my version file to get those dates. They call it versions? Yeah, I changed it to spawns. Let's probably just get rid of versions. Alright, so we had determined that 213 was the start. And there is a timestamp. Now, that's not necessarily when it was deployed, but it's a pretty good start. So actually we need to first make 3 versions of this. I don't think I do anything with the names. Alright, so you're going to start Jungle Age, and this one's going to go to Random Age. And then... Oh, because I'm doing boundaries on this, it would be kind of convenient to pre-parse that. It does, sorta. Um... Oh, this is just MS, not dates. And then you're going to go to 259-ish. All right, so 22, I was subtracting 1 from this. Or adjusting my start times. All right, MS, screenshot age. And this is an actual MS. No, you were fine. I probably shouldn't worry about the seconds too much. But you do want it to be distinct. Oh, but you are going to be just, we don't have a predefined biome layer. Unexpected token. Lost our equal sign. Start a screenshot. and of okay. This is probably within Big Server 2. Yeah. So he had a point at which world gen has changed, so it's not valid to use that, and well, that's straight up arc time. Oh, no, I'd swear the first arcs. Oh, well, because the way I'm merging the data, it probably comes in and kind of overwrites this, and I still have to do a better job of merging these. Might actually be, so this is still kind of that, but this is, and I thought, oh, they weren't arcs, they were rifts. So 729. Yeah, so we've got a rift. And I might even have that, yeah, primary object generation. And then we start getting random stuff. Rather swiftly. But there was a period where this applied. A very fleeting period. Oh, now you see the rift actually didn't apply there. So I may have to do something with rift sizes. Because that will cause a regeneration in order to properly represent that. All right, but so I mean, this is still like sort of relevant info. It's just not part of my to-do list anymore. Okay, let's see. Well, this is something I just have to, it's like I couldn't find an example of it, but I may have to do that. We've got code changes. Okay, so we've got versions interacting with arcs and possibly rifts. And it's kind of orthogonal, but does end up affecting world gen. Early arcs overlap. Yeah, this is sort of the versions overlap arcs. Screenshot layer. So I need to do a co-iteration of versions and ages and maybe rifts. I was thinking there were like 3 things. And it's server dependent. All right. So we've got this. So we build up ages, which worked for a bit. And then right now, we treat that as a given and reconcat, which isn't strictly true because they overlap. Oh, no, these are age worlds. Oh, so there's ages, versions, ages, versions, and arcs. So ages partly represent, well, ages right now represent code and a manual biome change, which in theory we could get from versions, but it's nice to have a fallback if we can't load the data. So we've got our ages, which are, we need to set this up. Bag of fish, hello. Or maybe it was a delayed follow, I don't know. Oh, not nearly there. How's it going? So I probably need like one, maybe like one process that produces things, and it should be able to operate without any one of the data sets. Or without any of the data sets, I guess. I'm making a map of Winter One Life, which has gotten a lot harder since I started. In other ways, it's gotten a lot better. Because after Jason started doing the seeds, he's also, when he went to publish those, he also actually published placement logs for all the player cost changes. So we can actually look back at previous worlds here and see how things developed. Oop, he doesn't like zooming much. And what I'm working on is adding in the like natural object generation, so you can kind of see what was there before people settled, which is actually something I was working on before the whole arc thing, just because it's not necessarily easy to get that. What I was doing before, so I had done a bit where I had screenshots, but it was a very limited area. So most places just look well. This is the version. This is the version I'm working on with the natural objects. So it was mostly just these biome patterns, which I think. Well, I did some screenshots of Crucible too, but mostly it was just kind of this stuff. And actually, it was originally all kind of screenshots, and then I had to make generation for things. That's the regular one, which doesn't have quite as much stuff on it because I haven't done the natural objects yet. But yeah, you can search for people. You can, or just search for recent lives. And then you can see, for instance, that I saw people escaping the other day. They got the odd one out in like yesterday's time. So yeah, I started. Well, I did the map, and like this was stuff I could put over it easily. But anyway, I am looking at a lot of like data structure stuff right now, so it's not necessarily that interesting for your average player. Let's see, I guess I don't necessarily want the placement data in my face. So we're kind of more back to this stuff. So we've got age worlds, which we produce in and of themselves. We've got arcs, which have some very specific kind of things that they do. And we've got versions, which rebuilds the age worlds. I really just kind of have to be able to produce. I was trying to be conservative of objects, but ultimately we are going to have to produce these sort of interlacing things. That may be a little bit expensive on startup, so I may have to treat that as an optimization. All right, so that's bootstrapping with just the ages. That adds version data, and then update arcs. Comes through and produces the arcs, which is kind of their own thing. And then we just smack that on the end, which isn't quite right. Because for map gen purposes, we might have to divide an arc if there was a version update in the middle of it. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Kind of like I don't really do a whole lot with my car. Anyway, how are you this morning? I'm assuming it's morning because I think you were saying it was late night last time you were streaming. So there are arcs. I don't know if there's necessarily going to end up being an arc layer when I'm done here. So that gets the singular biome generation for that time. That's something we can pick up as versions. Okay, so that's your base biome level, which we haven't had like a biome level change. So that may be fine. I'm familiar with hackathons. I don't know that particular one. I haven't been tracking it as much in recent years. And this will be more dependent on that. Michigan, okay. Okay, key placement. End up doing it for time, for the end, or is the biome be the beginning? Get the biome generation for that. There's a data time. I presume. Yeah, those files still have absolute times in them, so if they got split, it's probably okay-ish. Key placement's a single moment. That by itself is fine, although it kind of becomes a problem for my alternate layers if that gets broken. Well, if there's a version update, there's usually going to be, well, there was a map break, but I've written it to ignore that. The map log. All right, biomes. Oh, did I miss something here? I might have missed a... Because I thought I was actually done with that. Create art key placement also kind of does that. Can I do without that yet? So that was mainly being used in the actual arcs. Sure, doesn't look like a whole lot of natural objects. So it looks like I hadn't quite solved that yet. But shouldn't. biome generation for time, because that's biome generation, not object generation. Oh yes, okay, so that does not give me biomes. Biome layer, update versions. Let's let me do, yeah, version.biomes. Okay, so this is something I've not dealt with yet, which in part would come from updating all of these things and then having a current version for that. Which is kind of what we need to get going. Yes, that's going to be some arbitrary world gen right now. And possibly most recent, but still somewhat arbitrary. All right, so we've got age worlds at around 1218. We've got at art placements at 1256. And like update versions at 1445, which I think... Well, okay, so our age definitions are here. There's actually a little bit out of place from... No, it's a different age world? Add world objects. Or I didn't get the object stuff. Oh, so we already had age worlds. And then we add an object layer to them. A biome layer. Add art placements. Okay. So that gives us an initial set of worlds where we have just ages. Biome layers, we've kind of got the full definition for. Until arcs come along and do their own little time windows. So I probably need to do something like initially a new function. So yeah, this is rebuilding of a version data. All right, so ages is relatively constant. We might have version data. We might have arc data, and then add arc placements just comes along. Create arc key placements, and these are the things that currently assume some things. But these happen. Yeah, after we have object definitions, add world objects, object layer, update versions. So we're going to kind of be doing a little of all this. Yeah, so we're gonna have something like, so this one actually already has kind of a two-part co-iteration going on. So we're going to have something like, we're gonna have, and then that will end up undefined if there's nothing in that array. And then we've got arcs, which will, I guess you'd get updated on data. Although when we update arcs, we end up with a seed, we end up with start and end. And I think the layer stuff might get taken over by this. So it may be that we can use arcs directly here, or the produced arcs directly. Now version data, I don't think it's stored anywhere. Yeah, that just got used to regenerate the worlds. I may have to be saving it if we can be generating different things at different times. And then okay. So version data already has an MS start. Now, as for every one of these, for every combination of these things, we actually do need to generate a world. So this would be a total reset on worlds. So for age and version, it's pretty much just those properties. So for each version, we find the appropriate age. So I think, assuming we've got one of these, and is object.assign tolerant of undefines? Okay, yeah, we'll just ignore them. I don't know that I want to merge. Yeah, it's got age and version. So I'm probably gonna have to come along and rebuild our start and end times appropriately for this. Oh, I was using ver here. And arc will figure in somewhere. Start and seed, these are actual layers. Yeah, so really seed is the only like direct property we need. I think it needs to be undefined. Well, seed's actually a generation option, I think. Or it needs to end up in a generation option. It gets past the biome generation for time. So maybe at this level, if we want to record a seed, wow. Oh, so I just went through only worrying about the starts and then rebuilt ends at the when I was done. Version.biomes, version.grid placements, version.objects. What do age generation have though? Biomap, 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 biomap. Repeat biomap index. Okay, I don't think that will be in any conflict. However, this is where we actually need, no, it's a very specific seed. Oh, this is also, this is going to replace biome generation for time. Effectively. Yeah. So it's biome seed offset. And I have yeah, Something like that. So this is effectively doing what age table is doing. Wait, and how was I using that? Right, because that goes into layers, which then update biome generation up. Yeah, this is the specific stuff. Oh, we've got version, and we come to arcs. Which is going to leave us with extra space. Is there... Yeah, there's join. Is there a built-in compact? There's filter. Let's see, now we won't necessarily have versions. Ages or static data. And I mean, I know it implicitly converts. That's getting a little bit long. Okay, age.biome layer. World.id toString. Oh, that was just for identifying these things later. Let's set the version ID. Or for identifying them in the DOM view, rather. All right, I still don't have the iteration problem solved. And this we did based on update versions, which does the postfix on times. Right. Yeah. All right, so we want to create one of these every time. Assuming we've got something there. Now, yeah, this isn't quite right. Because we're not going to have arcs that are in effect right away unless we do some sort of like dummy arc. You can probably figure this out by looking at your current data somehow, but I think conceptually, I might need to keep track where I am in this process. If we start off at current time 0, we would actually potentially have nothing at that point. Yeah, it's dark. There's some purple and yellow bits. I guess that's kind of Halloweeny. Yeah, I don't remember offhand there's anything orange in this color scheme. Yes, we don't necessarily have any of these at this start. We probably have at least one of them at the start. We kind of have to bootstrap that. And the nice thing about that is that would allow us to do this sort of, well, it becomes a, because if we're all at 0 with nothing selected, there's actually nothing to do there. Yep. I had to hand edit an XML document once, and the tag commands were extremely handy. I'm not sure I can actually do that. Yep. I use probably like change in quotes is one of my more common ones. Or select in some kind of bracket. See, I don't have any handy here. Well, it would be the character you're within. I think you can do B for parentheses. I don't have a lot of strings here. But if I do that, then I just change in quotes, and I replace it. Or yeah, CI. Or you do around quotes, selects the boundaries. I mean, delete in if you're. I don't say just delete stuff that often. I will v in and then delete. I guess sometimes I do the select just to confirm what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, control up is up. But if you just type the key. You know about redo, right? Yep, control R. And if you want practice, I'm assuming it's still around, on Vim in the small. I think it's Vim Ninja? Maybe you know this already. Oh, no, it's Vim Golf. Real Vim Ninjas. So these are just a whole bunch of, file edit exercises. So you can take a stab at it, and it will kind of show you some other solutions that were around the same number of keys. And you can get some ideas from that and improve it a little bit, and then you can see a little bit more, get some new ideas, and keep on improving it. It's not always easy to necessarily see the top solution because there's a bunch of solutions, and sometimes it's hard to get up that close. But ah, but yeah, if you've got the time to just sit down and do some practice, that's a fun little exercise. And like I said, they're very, I don't play around with the command line stuff too much. I mean, on my Mac, I use it to open a thing in the current directory. So I haven't really gotten any of the command line switches. Tmux is another thing I've never gotten into. All right, let's update versions. I was working on, like, rebuild worlds. Oh. Ligatures. Oh, man. I've forgotten my words. So I think we have to actually start with nothing here, which actually means we're kind of not really on an index. So -1 will still be less than length. We have really nothing to do until we hit at least one of these things. So we're currently on none of them. So we have to be looking at index +1 to see what's the first thing that will advance. Once we have a object, we can have an end, and you kind of use that. Another thing I haven't heard of, there's a, well, there's I mean, it's interactive Vim tutorial. Nice. So it's very silly, but I have done some of this stuff in the past. So it's more tutorial than game, but it's an interesting presentation. When I first heard about it, I was thinking it was a little bit more on the game side. And it was like, okay, you've got your basic movement, and then, in the sense that, a Zelda-like would sort of, give you new abilities over time. You would get new things, and it would be a little bit more gamified in terms of like how you could move over obstacles and things. But it mostly ends up being letters in the world. So we need to find the minimum of the next start times. And then that thing is what we advance to. So we're going to have age index plus 1. I guess here, so maybe I'm not just going to keep these around as things. I might actually just want to do some testing. Well, this could go infinite loop pretty easy. Yeah, I definitely had. I know I've downloaded cheat sheets. It's probably been long enough I could use to go back to Vimgolf or something to. Is is Chatterino like an IRC client with Vim-like bindings? The pop-ups are from Chatty, which is a little Java program that it's like a Twitch integrated chat. It's kind of hidden behind the camera, but not really. Yeah, they've been adding some stuff lately. Well, yeah, I think it's always displayed them, but they've been adding some helpers for it. Supposedly they improved. I was not very impressed with it. Yeah, the little preview. Oh, okay. On the second run, the preview. Okay, so it's tabbed through. You can't arrow through the things, which is what I'm used to from other places. All right, so given that we're playing around with iteration here, there probably is more than 200 of these things, but just as we test stuff here. So given the next time that we want to go to, we then need to select advance these if we are greater than or equal to, if the next one is greater than or equal to that. Else we're back at index 0. or wherever we're at. I'm assuming -1 is going to be nothing. And I say the problem, right, so this is currently our next. We got plus plus? Maybe it's plus equals we don't have in JavaScript. Or do each of these need to advance until they get to that time? Maybe some weird situations that would make sense. And this is current index, so we actually can't do a current time lookup here. But we don't want to go there until we have a MS start that is greater than or equal to our next time, which if you keep on going, they will be. All greater than. Less than. There could actually be gaps here for some of these things. So it's not just a strict while. So at -1, our current index is not going to be there. But we only want to advance this if there is a valid start time on the next entry. Or on some entry. I mean, I guess one way to do this is just to do a full-on search every single time. I mean, we still expect it to, well, okay, what would a full-on search look like? It would look like, and maybe the for form is actually going to be a little bit more useful here. We're dealing with indexes and stuff. A full-on iteration of this would look like I think I'm doing it that way. No, actually, no, if I do this, so it's all timeline ordered. Then but one of the results of this is that we can end up there. If nothing applies at the current time, which actually would kind of leave you without. If we want to make that incremental, maybe I have to keep my index, but just blank out the resolved object if it's not in bounds. So maybe we advance, well, we can, but we have to do a final check to see if it's in range, to see if we actually have something there. But, right, so this would say, but if I run this, the problem is this is like invalid at 0, at -1. So we want to, assuming it's greater than, well, the start time. The current age, start time. Well, if we're iterating through, it's never going to be greater than. This would actually have to be beyond end. So maybe we are always looking at the next one. If we can advance there. Which would work with -1. And then while that is greater than next time, so that should always, well, no, no, because we're checking this against the length. There should always be something there. And the start is greater than the next time of the next thing. So if we pick a time that's less than the start, we still won't go there. And then when we get down to done, we still have to check to see if the thing that is, the next one is not greater than, but are we actually, I might only need to check end time. And this has to get, I mean, in theory, this could actually be functioned. Well, no, except for setting, because we have to update the index and we have to update the variable. And you see, I think I need to make these compatible. I mean, I guess I could try to make like some sort of like iterator object. Abstract this a bit. Oh, so this will never advance these beyond there, which is my loop termination condition. So we can advance it to the length. So we have to say we end when everything is at its final position. Right now we do. I don't know if it's going to leave me out of combination. So we do all our advancement, and then this is just where I wanted to kind of check iteration. And right now, you will end up getting called in several places, but I guess put it down where we're doing like update, object load. Oh, we do have a versions. Is that what update versions does? No. Okay, so we do effectively have just data there. Version data, right. H index is undefined. 1993. Right, because we could still be at -1. No, this is greater than or equal to. Vers. Oh, I did a full replacement on that. Great. Oh, look, a whole bunch of nan nulls. One of these might, in fact, have a 0. Okay, so we got a bunch of next objects. MS start 0, MS start, MS start, so sure. That gets us a 0. Which should have gotten us into that object. So that's ages. Oh, I did strictly greater than. Okay, we still get to nulls. All right, so why is this failing? Nope, not you. I could probably make my crazy a lot smaller while I'm working on this. Right, that does end up being undefined. And, in a loop it does. What the heck is... Maybe my loops are going bonkers. Okay, so that's a 0. I appear to have typoed something here? Because that should turn into a 0. Okay, it's got 9 entries. +1 should be 0. 0 should be a valid value. Wait. MS start greater than next time. Am I over incrementing this? No, it says negative. It says 91. Oh, no, this is the second loop. So what are we doing here? Oh, right, that's +1. Now we want to know, where do we end up? We went straight to 8. Oh, no, I'm thinking about this backwards. Maybe this is why I had that as a non-equal. There's still a lot of nulls there. Means you're staying at -1. All right, so, oh, that one has a 0. No, we should have advanced you to index, well, to index 0, and we didn't advance you to index 0. So I guess this does need to be equals. Okay, -1, 0. Then our second loop is still stuck in the same time. All right, we should not need there. Okay, so index. So then when we come around to the second loop, we should be looking at index +1. Which actually, that should be the... Which line are you? Oh, you're this thing. So Arctic Age is there. Okay, so one of these should have advanced. We're not printing out the indexes. Which maybe we don't have all our data? 0, 0, -1, -1. So we did advance to a time, which, from the looks of things, should be a version time. Oh, you don't even have an MS end. Well, okay, so versions are always consecutive. Well, right, we assume the current version is carrying forward. Similarly with ages, but ages actually do have time limits on them. Maybe our last one doesn't. Arcs have definite time spans. Yeah, okay. And we can kind of assume that I think ages we can kind of assume are contiguous, but versions just don't have an MS end. So what this can't handle right now is arcs kind of continuing on. We have to do a special case for the last one. So we do still have to consider this if this is a negative index still. Ages sometimes have that. We assume they're consecutive. And they kind of carry on. And I'm probably going to have to do a special case for the end of those. That's still -1, -1. You should have advanced. Assuming we have versions. Which, now we're looking at 16 right there. We got it as the minimum time. And then we're looking at this. Oh. Too many replacements. And it was perfectly happy to do a length on an integer. Oh, that's why I got vers, because it was ages. It's vers, yeah, something like that. Arc index is undefined. Well, we know that there were some arcs here. And then you didn't get properly replaced. Okay, and then 0, 0. Two 16s, we're mostly going through versions. Okay, and then we get run out of ages again. So 46. Okay, so we actually did have Jungle Age. These are probably like all the arcs. Jungle Age screenshot, Jungle Age. We're doing this print of the candidates. Okay, so you've reached a point at which you do not... We have reached the end of age list. So we have Jungle Age, Jungle Age, Jungle Age. Oh, great, we can start getting like topographic and special and stuff. It appears to have gone like all the way there. Oh. This is probably actually the console log. And then we get nans. Oh, let me guess. As soon as we do an undefined there, Ugh. You don't just ignore bad arguments. Yep. Let's do this the hard way. So we have no guarantee for what you are. And what if everything goes off the end? Well, they're still forward only. Except this kind of has to be... We're checking for less thans. Well, number, max safe integer. If age and age.ms start less than next time, if var and var.ms start less than next time, and that looks like our crazy catch fired. So it is less than or equal to the length on all of them. Well, this is an and. Oh, no, maybe for this condition... while any of them are less than their maximum length. Nope, still goes crazy. Arcs.length. Wait, okay, we typoed something here. Eight of 9, 48 of 49. Oh, right. So I guess, yeah, if you plus it, it could... oh, right, that's the same effect as this, right? No, because length is... Have we reached one less than our length? We never increment beyond it. Eight of 9, 48 of 49, 36 of 37. All right, because we actually do want to stop our indexes at the last thing. Maybe that's object dependent. Eight of 9, 47 of 49, 36 of 37. We then advance and process that particular thing, presumably. And how far does crazy get? I'm just curious. 92. So that's actually a safe number for now. And I guess a realistic number no, because if one of these is currently a zero array, that would not go so good. But arc's just going to keep on going. So our only guaranteed data is ages. Well, actually, this isn't in times, this is plus. We have one entry for every change. And actually, it probably is going to be about that much. There's not going to be too many concurrent changes. And maybe we give that a little extra. It's not going to need too much extra at this point. Oh, did I take out the print on that? Well, we can see that we got 8 of 9, 47, 48, 36, 37. Okay, that appears to be finite under these conditions. Oh, yeah. We're not guaranteed to have anything. All right, we have no data officially defined yet. Hopefully. And there's an age.generation, but that object assign is relatively tolerant of stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, no biomes, grid placements, and objects. I think those are actually supposed to be empty arrays if they're not defined. There's going to be more of a post step. We do need to make a new object here. And you see this is defaulting to here, so this ends up kind of being the same thing. I don't think we need seed. Generation. IAM seed offset equals art.seed. So that's one way to get a new object. Age.name. World.id. Now world has to exist. I guess we don't necessarily have to merge the ID property into it though. Because that's basically the version number. All right, this probably messes everything up because I don't think we actually defined a whole lot of stuff here. Yeah, we're blank. I really wish that was cleaner. But this is kind of why I didn't want to do this co-iteration stuff. All right, we didn't end up using current time. No, I guess. It's only checking the end. Like if I did a range check, maybe I could deal with starting at 0 every time and then just excluding it if it was out of range. It's kind of be the same thing. And instead of how we're looking at +1. All right, so now we're setting this up where we should be like regenerating everything. All right, so update versions. So age has a biome layer. No, wait. Yeah, we got our age biome layer. Got all of our version stuff, but that's a separate step to add world objects. There was a test I was using for arcs. If object size dot length. Now you see this is the global biomes again. which we have not yet completely gotten rid of. And right now, we're unfortunately in a kind of rebuild everything every time scenario. This is like if there's objects and there's, well, versions will cause a rebuild anyway. I guess because this is conditional, I can't just put it in there. We still want this. Now, where did I have this? Right, because we do this and then we do that. Okay, that got us naturally spawning objects. Now, I think we might be in an arc right now. Yeah, so we're not... Looks like we're not getting any placement data right now. Because that was previously handled in the arc thing itself. And this probably replaced the arc layers entirely. Create arc biome layer. Which actually, arc biome layer... Right, you have the seed. So that's not necessarily just age dot biomes. I'm not even doing an age check there. So you might have to be an empty group. So if we have objects, we can do that. If we have an arc, we've already got our generation parameters with our seed. And you... No. No, it was age.biome layer as a fallback. There's some special, yeah, for biome layer, there's not a whole lot of change. And we want to override the age. Yeah, I think arcs actually where the seeds were introduced, which would break the old screenshot layer and stuff. And we merged in age properties, right? Or that just generation. World is age version, so you would already have had a biome layer. I don't think there were any predefined object layers. So that's all generation stuff, generation stuff, generation stuff. Name stuff. World.layer is undefined. Oh, world.layer.name. Has to be at least after that. That's a leaflet error. Where's the stack? Did I mistake my parameters here? I think it's just options. Yeah. Oh, I lost the new. I think that was from the previous run, yeah. All right, so we still have to do something special for arcs to get all their data. Okay, so you're a very specific thing. Those are like kind of two alternates for like map object layer. So this is where we would say if we have an arc, then we do this instead of that. Now, some of these might be using like generation parameters. So we have to look at these creation functions. All right, we just copied that. So end, thanks. Hit caps lock or something? Greater than start of random age. Well, that's... Huh. Right, because that's when we started to have data. So what I really want is, I want to be able to get gen in there, I think. Which, that's the reason I had to pass seed. So we could just replace that. And I think biomes is going to stand in. Wait. No, yeah, object to assign generation on top of that. Right. So that should end up including biomes. I think you're going to turn to gen. Take over that. Okay, so problem. This is not the same thing anymore. That means this is actually not animated. uh, maybe I should be doing this check before I even do that. We have arc, and I was using end because end is what I had. Else we just get a single plain old object layer. No need to worry about alternate stuff. World.generation. World.generation. Oh, which would actually make these then simpler because I'm not necessarily doing that check. I mean, I kind of got the data anyway. Because we have the ends. Why did you have MS start? Oh, right, just that the position if that's relevant. Add arc placements. So I think that's just going to kind of go away. Oh, well, yeah, those are bodies. They're just not an interesting corner of the world. Oof. Need to work on performance sometime. All those extra trees. Okay, so map log replay. Not so good. Now, it might be I'm specifically looking through arcs to determine if I should be doing that. Okay, now we're working at worlds, which actually I think I had just appended arcs to worlds before. That's for fade. So I think you're going to stop having layer data. Add layer, add layer. Ah, anim overlay, arcs.for each, toggle animated arc.layer. So this is going to turn into there. Maybe I should have way to determine current world. We're fairly slow here. Yep, okay. Period of light activity, there we go. Let's see, how about... Why do we get so many breakpoints? Oh. That means there was version updates in here. I think. So what the heck is this doing now? Seems like there should be a lot more changes in there. My iterations messed up? So what are we doing? Base layer by time? Oh, you know what? I'm probably still adding... I'm not actually doing this in proper places. Yeah, update arcs. So this would actually be... All right, so we think we're done with you. All right, I might want to do a whip here. Before I delete everything. I mean, I guess I can always go back into version control, but... Whip, age, arc, version merge. Which it won't let me resplit that. All right, update arcs. There is no more biome layer. There's no more layer. I just need to know that basic information. I might have to make this a... Okay, update arcs is only called there, so it's kind of safe to... It's going to come in separately. Ages pre-exist, there's that. There's update versions, which... doesn't really do anything now. All right, Age World is just gone. So you actually are a little bit of a bootstrap. Arc.layer at arc placements. Not key. All right, has that? It has not cleaned this up any. So what are we sending for that message? Is that a map time? Arc list, like select arc. Index. Current arc, current start time, we are sending no immediate command? Oh, this is probably setting arc mode. No, that's select time mode. On change. Oh, that was the nothing. It ends up doing a set time. Leaflet.current time, because that's a time set. Oh, maybe. You know what? I think. No, because I wouldn't have copied the arc file here if I hadn't updated it. Yeah, something's off here. World.forEach. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be detecting as different. Did I somehow merge my world layers? Or not update them sufficiently? I mean, it's a layer group. Wait, what are... Okay, yeah, your if objects, we add these things. So clearly we did this to some extent. Maybe this is still an iteration error? Where we are not hitting every arc index. So now I'm spamming myself. Rebuild worlds. I was printing these out. Age version arc. Okay, so we had one release in the middle of a thing there. So that's about a console log somewhere. Or it was just all zeros. Yeah, 1437. How do we get back to 0? Wait, age? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8? Oh, these are the rebuilds. How did we skip to 8? Did I mess up my time sequence? All right, 0 to 1520, 1520, 1522, 1522 to 1542, 42, 53, 53 to 66, 66 to 64. Yep. Desert age, jungle age. All right, screenshot age, screenshot age. Oh yeah, screenshot age to screenshot age. Oh no, end of screenshot age, start of random age. Oh, those might overlap. July 27th, yeah. So there is no end of screenshot age. The end of screenshot age is start of random age. Which actually means there is no sort of post-change jungle age. And there's fewer of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That seems a bit more reasonable. I mean, I guess the loop could have confused this a bit. Yeah, it still doesn't seem right. All right, we start over. We go through too many ages without having a version here. Oh, because we have no version data yet. We get the arcs, we get the versions. I mean, maybe it'd be worth trying to wait to see if we get both of those. So we go through versions until we get to arcs. All right, yeah, so one biome generation, other biome generation, random. Yeah, random topographic special. Special topographic random. I thought arcs actually started in the jungle age, though. Am I iterating correctly? Right, there's 8 entries, 0 through 7. So we have special age, topographic age, random age, which was very brief. But we should, well, we probably didn't have arc data. There were reset cycles happening, but we didn't have arc data. All right, so there's a lot of rebuilding right now. But at the end of the day, it looks like we should have a fair number of breakpoints to do arc selection by. This is our next time, not necessarily what the world got created as. That might still be too much. All right, so this is, my code is probably farther than my arcs right now. But that should be the same list of arcs we're using on the UI to give us times. MS start. Oh, you may not have an MS end. So we have no information about that. Base layers by time. All right, from our object load, we get 6932. So it's basically picking this one. We picked a world. Oh, this is pick world.generation. We picked a world, given 6932. We got 6964, 1567, 1569, 64. So maybe what I'm actually doing is putting the wrong key placement layers on these. So kind of need a way just to step through worlds irrespective of time. All right, 993. And I see I'm getting all these times. 68. Yeah, that time range is just too big. Oh, you know what? I was overlapping the MS start. I need to do that as I rebuild. I was being lazy and assuming we just had versions and ages. Actually, there was a... Yeah, you're gone. You've been replaced by the ages array. So I was being lazy and just saying we're going to... this gets overlapped by the later objects, though. Well, that's something different. Okay. Okay, we still got in a rebuild. And we should also be able to go back here. And I think I might want to make the object layer something I just rebuild with data because it's going to be less traumatic. Possibly biomes, although biomes, yeah, it would be less flashy if I actually just rebuilt it. But certainly when we're having data changes, they're not affecting the biome most of the time. I think I'm actually going to have a list of layers for the world and then individually check those layers. And have arc data. That was mainly it. We had some other fixes. Which might... I may still be missing true I don't know. I do check to see if things are at the moment, but I don't have any way to stop at the end of something that is not the beginning of something else. If there's a gap there. Which is still uncertainty, maybe missing. Rift sizes might affect biome generation. Moving objects might need to be a generation parameter. Let's see. So the flashing is the thing most annoying to me right now. So right now we do a layer group, and the thing I have to understand fully here is when are the downstream things themselves layer groups? Well, downstream things might not matter. It's mainly like biome layer and object layer. Is it alternate? Yeah, so you're RA, yeah, so I did a generic system for that. Data overlay, and yeah. I want to rethink that too. All right, so you're in an overlay. You're a little thing. So I do still need to have some concept that there is this like ohobos layer. So instead of world.layer, so toggle animated, can we be operating within that? Maybe I need to say that you create an object layer and then we toggle stuff within there. And then like the world layers is its biome layer and its object layer. So if we're going through and saying, is this part of it, we say, okay, the base layer is composed of the world stuff. But the biome layers are going to be mostly age layers for a good chunk of history. So we would actually want to say do we have you? Okay, so we already had this as a var thing. Skip that for now. All right, so that should toggle animated. Well, so the thing, no, I think that toggle in a parent. Parent is undefined. All right, am I just in the middle of nowhere here? This is old biomes. I went back in history. Nope, nope. Parent on each layer is not a function. Wait, so right, because object layer cannot be a group. Yeah, that didn't save my position. Okay, no errors, and we are completely borked here. See, if I got everything into the map proper, I could look only at the currently applied layers to see if they had alternates. Well, the overlay is a separate thing. But that would become just a whole base. Then we could just toggle within a whole base. Maybe. It does mean we have to be kind of aware of animation status. Data animated. When we sort of say, okay, go ahead and apply this. So I don't necessarily need an object layer here. Maybe we keep world.layer, just a way to organize things. But actually just go through it. Well, that means we have to add... When we add world.layer, we actually have to... So that is, however, now a two-step iteration. Or we could explicitly go through all of the possible things. So if we just say target world, if it is equal to world.biome layer, So these are the things that are in. Oh, we have to then decide what to add. So that's an in. Which might be a null. We should have a null in here though. World dot key placement layer and not data animated. Or if it is map log layer and we are data animated, else then we can have to do these conditions for maybe I should just make an array of them. The iteration seems kind of odd, but I do have to do some very specific stuff. Yeah, the thing I kind of don't want to do is to go through every world and toggle its animation state every time. So maybe they're all in like world layer or whatever. No, it has to be a very specific thing because it's animated. So this has to be not to include that. And we have to filter that. Admittedly, the nulls would have just kind of washed themselves out, but because they would never match, it's still nice not to have to deal with it on every check here. If and we don't want to check this, and also to, well, we're moving things we're iterating through. Hopefully this isn't too bad. And oh, right, you can be. So would that say remove everything if there was no target? Kinda would. Maybe that should just be a short circuit. Well, can't do a full short circuit because I'm doing changes. All right, then we have so that actually kind of ceases to exist. That's going to be implicitly built up from age. Grouped at each layer. Let's give me an exception in here. Arc update tiles. Oh. I assumed everything in here was a group. Right, because we have got a whole base. We're swapping in and out the worlds, which were groups. Well, the whole base should still just be the individual things. So we just don't have a group here, although we could do a similar check to this. Okay, it gets there. I feel like we're doing too many adds and removes. The whole point of this was to not do that. Oh. Oh. What? How? Okay, you're an array. I clearly have typoed something here. Add undefined. Oh, it's undefined name. That's slightly annoying, but it's a biome layer of some sort. Perhaps the individual arc layers we're making? Arc.seed. Okay, so there's a biome. Add biome, remove biome. Okay, we've got our condition messed up here. This must be, yeah, this must be equals. Moving it and adding it every time. That's no good. Did we cross a boundary there? Oh, this is before the check. Okay, yeah. Bootstrap time is kind of rough. We can go all the way back. Wait. That's looking like a world gen change. Yeah, my screenshot time isn't right. What happened on 422-ish? 430? You're 329. That's the one I was looking at before. Oh, the Electrum ore moved everything around. It's 419. 427. Okay, so we actually have to use this timestamp. I was mistaken. Yep. Yeah, so now you see that all change at once. Did I break small objects again, or is that a flat rock jackpot? I mean, no, I see the shadows. Oh, and actually, part of the point of this was specifically for these older times, we don't flash our biome every time. Now, we do flash our objects every time. So, and we're still going to get the flashing when we get to world regeneration. So that might be some things to think about. Okay, so we do that. All right, do we have anything that is an approachable task here? I don't feel like this is actually a problem. Oh, actually, yeah, rift change is actually something I had noticed. Now, that's only going to be relevant in a certain time period. Oh, if I'm drawing it all with objects right now, you're not going to see the changes. Is it actually course start? Saw it briefly. Yeah. So if we go down here and generate the barrier, and then yeah, this is like completely ignorant of Rift history. I guess the simple version of that is we just throw Rift into our iteration. And it technically has to regenerate the entire thing, but actually, the thing. I think my timestamps are wrong. So we do have some overlap between here and here. So that would be random age. 29. Oh, this should actually be uncertainty. And then once arcs start, so maybe random age have default biome layer of uncertainty. Well, no, because right now we're still generating objects, which are no good. So this is the general uncertainty problem. Huh, I guess my highlighter only does so many levels. Oh well. I guess there's no easy wins right now. I mean, well, the Rift might be a straightforward thing to do. It's not going to change that often, actually. Also, we can probably... no, I can't necessarily combine map log and key placement because the world generation changes for things that were not placed. All right, well, we're getting there. Ah, I need you. Which might not actually be that bad to do. I need you. I kind of want the rift sizes. I mean, the server is going to be invalid, but I kind of need to check on that. I kind of need this to be optional because it performs so badly. Those might be about, well, this slightly bothers me, but it's not going to be a big portion of things. That might be about what we would need to get it to kind of a first releasable state. And then there is, I mean, some other things I've been meaning to touch up in the UI, which I'd just rather not deal with with multiple branches when I'm rearranging a lot of the code. All right, well, I might have to, I know Jason's working on the client, so I might have to do some more client work Saturday. Which means maybe we can finish that up Monday? We'll have to see. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we got? Huh? Well, thanks again for watching. This is about when I'm usually on. So Wednesday's working its way out, and then otherwise, I kind of get in code when I can, and gaming some other times. What do we got? Well, fifth function still working as JavaScript ray tracer. I'm not doing anything quite so fancy, but it's some graphic stuff still. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.